Hi guys, Point Hard Book Club time. The Babysitter 2, the sequel to The Babysitter 1, obviously. So yeah, we're going to be chatting about this wild ride. This was a bit crazy. Right, I'll just add in our special guest, if she's here yet. Be Cynthia Murphy. So if you haven't heard of Cynthia Murphy, I'll introduce you to her books. If you have, you've got great taste. Right, let me send an invite to Cynthia. Cynthia. With this one, this was crazy from start to finish, and I'm sure we're going to have much to discuss. Hey, everybody. Hi, Cynthia.
Hi,
Hello. You're
I
right.
am. Are you
Yeah,
okay?
not too bad, thanks. I'm so excited to chat about this book with you.
Oh my God.
We have so much to discuss. Definitely. Um, but I was just saying, if people haven't heard of Cynthia Murphy before, this is the brilliant Cynthia Murphy, author of all of these fabulous 5-star books. Like, if you asked me to choose a favourite, I just couldn't. Because I always say to Cynthia, every time she writes a new book, I'm like, this is my new favourite. But really, they're all my favourites.
Yeah, that's what we like. I can't quite
Yeah.
believe whenever I see that stack, I'm a bit like,
Yeah,
when did that
look.
happen?
And I've missed the short story collection as well, Taste of
Yeah,
Darkness, where you did a
yeah.
short story. I've got that on my shelves up there. But yeah, look at all
So
these. I can't
pretty.
believe it.
Yeah.
It's so gorgeous. But you're no stranger to the book club, Cynthia. We did April Fools by Richie Tankersley Cusick back in, I want to say 2021. Whoa, that was a long time ago.
Is it that
It's
long
got.
ago?
I'm sure it was. It's got to be. Yeah,
Yeah,
2021.
maybe.
And then we did Double Date. No, not Double Date. We did The Diary by Sinclair
Did the
Smith.
diary. Yeah, I think that
Yeah,
was 2 years ago now,
yeah, something
maybe.
like that.
Yeah.
So basically, we've known each other a long time. Oh dear. So yeah, if you're joining in, there will be spoilers ahead. But
Yes.
but for the babysitter, but Cynthia does have a new book coming out this year, and I'm super
Yeah.
excited. Called Keep Your Friends Close. Tell us some more, Cynthia. I need to hear more.
So it's set at Morton Academy, which is the school in Win, Lose, Kill, Die.
Yeah.
So when I signed my new contract, it was a bit like it was on vibes and
Mm.
ideas. And my new editor said, "Oh, did you ever think about like there's a storyline in Win, Lose, Kill, Die about a cult in 1999? Did you ever think about writing that?" And I was like, "No, but I think I could. Like, I think I could do it." And then it was really good fun because I was like, well, I want a completely new character. I don't want, because there's a character in Win, Lose, Kill, Die who was at school in 99.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do it from their point of view because I was a bit like, we know what happens to
Yeah.
them and so I needed a new character. So I came up with her best friend or like frenemy. So
Oh.
it's all from a girl called Chloe's point of view. She's like shooing to be head girl. She's got everything going for her. And then her best friend swoops in at the last minute and takes it all, takes her boyfriend, takes head girl, just takes it all away from her and leaves her kind of adrift. And she realizes that she's been pretty much horrible to everybody. And she has to make these new friends. But then, of course, they start dying because
Because we
that's what
have to have
happens.
death.
Yeah. So she's got to figure out what's going on because she very quickly realizes that if there's a list, that she is probably on it.
Oh. Oh, Cynthia, I need
But it's
to know.
99, and it was like
Yeah.
being able to talk about all that 90s fashion
Yeah.
and like so many Buffy the Vampire
Oh,
Slayer references
oh
and
yes.
oh there's all sorts of like being able to put in they were listening to this song or this album. It was just so good.
Yeah.
So I'll have a
Oh.
playlist at some point.
Well, I love that's what you did with was it Signed Sealed
Yeah.
Dead? I was going to say Signed Sealed Delivered,
No,
just because it's in
not
Granny Bag.
yeah.
Signed Sealed Dead, where you did a playlist because there's like a 90s throw 90s flashbacks in
Yeah.
there and things like that, and you did a really cool playlist. And it was really good, and I listened to it while I was reading it as well, which was
Yeah.
super
Lots
cool.
of Alanis Morissette. Yeah.
Yeah, all the angsty teen. Oh, those
Yeah.
are the days.
I
Oh,
know.
Caroline says the new book sounds
Oh,
amazing.
thank you. It's not out till September, so it's still a while
Mm,
away, but you can pre-order.
yeah, let's
Yeah.
pre-order. And Lisa from B for Book said, a cult? I'm going to need this book. There's something about cult books, though, isn't there? Like, I think
Yeah.
there is. Like, I'm really drawn to books
Just
with cults,
yeah, anything
just in
true
general.
crimey that's anything that where you think like, what do these, what power do these people have over other people that
Yeah.
not everyone has? It's like fascinating.
Yeah, I find it really fascinating as well. Like, what's the pull? Like, how have they managed to manipulate
Yeah,
people into this cult? I just find it really interesting. And anything
yeah,
with a cult on there, I'm drawn in definitely. So you've been a fan of point horror for all the years that I've known you, because even before
yeah,
the book club, we used to chat. And so, do you think point horror, because grew up with it as well, as influenced like the writing or the books that you
yeah.
write?
Oh my gosh, without a doubt. Like,
Yeah,
there's just, I don't know. I think I read it at such a formative age because I was probably reading it in like year 6. So
yeah,
I was 10 or 11, and then, kind of going into year 7 at high school, I was still reading
mm,
bits of it. And there were so many of them. And I was upset. Like, I used to, that was what my pocket money went on at the weekend, or that's what I would get from the
yeah,
library. I didn't care what it was. If it had that little point horror like sign on it, I was getting it.
yeah,
Um, and of course, being 10 and 11, I was reading like plot twists that were blowing my mind that I'd never come across ever in my life. And now you look back on some and you're like, yeah.
yeah. It was just yeah. How
But
you think, how could it be so silly?
yeah, but they were just brilliant. I
Yeah.
loved them so much. So yeah, I remember when I'd kind of given up on writing, and because I was trying to get published for so
Mm,
long, and then I was like, I'll do one last one. And you know what? Why don't I just write like a point horror, something that I would have read when I was a
yeah.
kid? And that ended up being the last one to die. So
Oh, I
whatever
love
I
that.
tapped into, because my agent as well is a massive point horror fan,
Yeah,
like going back. So immediately she was like, "Oh, I can see what you're doing here,"
yeah.
and then Scholastic said the same, and it was lovely, and it's really
Mm,
nice that that's the thing that got me, to where I am
yeah.
now.
And I really love that as well, that like, even though like we look and we laugh at these point horrors sometimes and the silliness and that they were just so
Yes, we will
influential.
do today because
Definitely.
yeah,
But they were so influential and such a moment in time, like definitely defines my teen years, and that's all I devoured throughout my teen years. And
yeah,
yeah, that's why I just look on them so fondly
that's
now,
it.
definitely.
And I mean, the covers are iconic, aren't they? They were
Yeah.
just, I mean, that's not one of the better ones, is it?
No, not
Really?
really.
But they were just, and they foil and
Yeah.
shiny, and they
Yeah,
were just something so different to what I'd seen
yeah,
before. So
definitely.
yeah, love them. Real place in my heart for them.
Oh, same, Cynthia. Karen says, "Are the spoilers ahead? Jenny's mum getting CPS called on her for sending her kid into an identically murderous situation as in book one."
I know, and you know what? Like, I know you have to get rid of the parents in YA, but you don't even have to get rid of Jenny's mum. It's just
She
like
does it herself.
her daughter was nearly murdered. Like, what? It's not
Yeah,
even a year ago, is it? It's like a few months earlier,
yeah.
and like she doesn't even take her to her therapy appointments. Poor
Oh,
Jenny has to get
yeah.
the bus. Like,
Oh, she's
oh,
like, get out there and earn that Christmas dollar.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Go get another job. Go and put yourself in an identical situation. Oh, yeah,
Oh dear,
I
yeah,
know.
definitely. Melina said Sign Sealed Dead playlist was fantastic.
Ah, thank you.
I think that's Liz 13 said I pre-ordered the new book on announcement day.
Yay!
Yay! Tam said I love a cult book too. It's on my list.
Thank
Woohoo!
you. I've
uh,
just seen
um,
someone say I'd never take another babysitting job. I exactly,
why does she like?
exactly.
Why does she do it? I mean,
And
I'm
she's
sure
like, it's easy money. I'm sorry,
it's
it's
not.
not easy money. Like looking after someone else's child. No,
Oh,
not easy money.
definitely. Caroline says you think you'd never be taken into a cult, but imagine people in them once. But I imagine people in them once thought that too.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true. I
definitely.
think I would ask. too many questions for a call. I think I'd get annoying fast. They'd either kick me out or kill me off.
Yeah.
They would get really annoyed. I'd be just
Well,
questioning everything.
I know this is going like really off topic, and we will get to the babysitting in a minute. But I always remember my friend. Um, so I've got so many crazy stories about her, but she once said to me that she got refused from the Scientology because she went and she must have been walking down the street and they must have said, "Oh, come in and have these tests and that." But she can talk like she really can, like like
Yeah.
this. Anyway, so they did these tests on her, and then they went, "No, sorry, we don't want you." And I'm like, "I'm sure that they never do
I
that."
know.
And she's like,
Like, you've got to be bad.
"What's wrong with
Saying
me?"
that, no, she's probably someone I'd like to be friends with. I want to know why.
Yeah, she was like, she was going on about, she was telling me how, what tests they did on her, and she was going on about she had to hold these like metal bar things. It
Yeah,
all sounded really
I've seen
bizarre.
that. It's like, oh, I can't remember the name. What do they, like, diametric
Yeah,
testing,
something
maybe?
like
But I've
that.
seen those little bar things. But
Yeah.
that surely must just be like your heart rate, or maybe it's a lie detector.
Oh,
Maybe
maybe,
that's what it really is. And
but
she's just
yeah,
answering all these questions, and they're like, no, get rid of this.
yeah,
No,
they were like, "Get out,
yeah.
we don't want you."
Oh gosh.
Oh dear. Melina said last one to die was the first book of yours. I read, Cynthia,
Oh,
and still an absolute favourite. Yeah, so good.
thank you.
Atia said, yeah, the point horrors totally stand out on the shelves in bookshops and library. Tam said, never take another babysitting job. Yeah.
No.
Karen said Jenny's mum cared more about her earning money to pay for Christmas. Yeah,
I
definitely.
know. And yeah, anyway, we'll we'll
Eli
get there.
Scott says Eli proves babysitting isn't easy. Definitely.
That's true. There was, as an ex-teacher, there were several red flags in that child that I'd definitely be onto some kind of social services, I think.
Matthew Stargazer said apparently she takes two more jobs after the second attempt on her life because there's two
There
more
is
books.
there's two more books, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, but one of them has got quite a good plot twist
yeah, it
from what
has
I remember.
actually. Yeah,
Yeah,
I am really excited to read that one because I can't wait to see
yeah.
what everyone thinks. Um, oh yeah, Raj says Scientology is a human trafficking cult. Yeah,
Probably.
they
Yeah.
didn't want my friend.
I was gonna like apologize then, but I'm very much assuming there are no
Oh
Scientologists
yes,
watching this.
if there is, I do apologise. I'm only saying about, well, they didn't want my friend, so you know, for some reason. Um, so Miss Boo Boo says she says she doesn't have the energy to have a real job, but those kids are a handful.
I know.
Yeah,
That's it.
definitely.
And
Yeah.
she hangs out at that mall so much that she should just get a job.
Yeah, easy
You know.
peasy.
I wonder if it's the same mall in the mall. Like I would
Oh,
love to. No, it's a different author, isn't it? But I would love to know if
yeah,
there's little crossovers
yeah.
and cliffhangers that we never
I think
noticed.
Diane Ho does use the roller coaster again in one of the Nightmare Hall books out of
Does she?
Funhouse. Yeah, I think it's one of the Nightmare Hall books we didn't get in the UK. It's like one of the really further ones, but yeah, the Devil's Elbow appears,
Right,
and I think Sinclair Smith uses the I can't remember the name of the restaurant, but the restaurant from the waitress appears in
right.
some other books as well.
Oh,
That's
see,
what I've
that's cool.
noticed. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love
I like that.
that. Billy says surely working in a shoe shop with her friends was easier than babysitting Eli and his tarantulas. Definitely.
Ugh.
Um, but yeah, so I've jumped ahead a little bit, but I wrote a little synopsis
Okay.
about poor old Jenny. So obviously the tagline on this one was "Knock knock, who's there? Don't ask." Well, really, no one really knocks on the door. They
No,
just ring
and
her.
I mean, is it on the back? Yeah. Hi, babes, I'm back. Would that not have been the most perfect tagline?
Yeah,
Wouldn't
why
it?
didn't they use that?
Like, yeah, that would have been ideal.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
no. Before you do your
um,
synopsis, I was
yeah,
going to when I sat down to read it, I thought, should I read number one as well? Because it's been a long time. And I
yeah,
thought, no, I remember what happens. And then I read a couple of pages of this and I was like, oh, I don't have to because the first 6 pages is Jenny in a
yeah.
therapy session just
Mm.
telling the entire plot of book one from start to finish. I was like, oh, there we go.
Yeah, I was
So
like,
all
but
caught up.
do you know what? I'm quite a fan of recapping because sometimes
Yeah.
I'm not very good at reading like trilogies or book series because I just my memory's not that great, so I forget what happened. So to have a little summary straight
Yeah.
away in the first chapter was
It was
brilliant, and I thought, oh,
great. I just
that
loved the
is
way it was
good.
done. It was just her talking for like an entire chapter. And I think it mentioned once that like she was talking to the doctor and then
Yeah.
and then off she went. So I thought that
I,
was funny.
I love that as well. And Scott said the town of Point Harbour from The Bride also appears in the cemetery.
Ooh,
Ah, okay.
okay. Yeah, I
So,
read The Bride last year. When you guys were reading it, I read it.
yeah, I really did like that one. That was
Yeah, I
good.
liked that one as a kid. I remember
Yeah.
liking it. Yeah.
I don't think I read that one back in the day, or not that I remember. I think I would have remembered
Yeah.
reading it, but yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed that one. Definitely want to check out if you haven't read it. Um, but yeah, so with this one, Jenny Jeffers is back, as we've just discussed. So she's back with her like wild imagination, her constant talking out loud to herself or to her therapist.
Yeah.
And to be honest, she's very much the same Jenny that we met before, albeit she's obviously gone through a lot of trauma. And now she's seeing this therapist, or I use the word therapist very loosely, which I'm sure we will discuss.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'd think that she wouldn't want to do babysitting anymore after it nearly killed her the first time. But this time it'll be different because she's got a 10-year-old boy called Eli to look after, and that can't be that difficult, right? Can't be. But Eli is a nightmare, not even dressed like a daydream, as Taylor Swift may say.
No, Eli is a sociopath.
Yes, definitely. Um, and then, but more on Eli later, definitely. But that's when all the phone calls start. Someone's out to get Jenny again. Who could it be? And she's got all these whispery phone calls, dead tarantulas, being chased around car parks, streets, the mall. Someone's trying to get her in the mall, which ends up being Chuck, I think. But yeah, her overreactive imagination does go into full kilter. And they all seem to know Mr. Hagen's old tricks and saying, "Company's coming, babes." So if it
It's horrible.
weren't creepy enough the first time, we
I
have to hear
know.
it again. So yeah, is Mr. Hagen back from the dead, or is someone else out to get her? Dum dum dum. um, so we'll start off with Jenny. So compared to, if you can cast your mind back to the first book, do you like Jenny better in the second book than the first, or about the same? Do you think she's learned from her mistakes?
Oh, not at all. I think she's more likable maybe in the first one, but whether that's because it's the first
Yeah.
book and you're kind of getting to know her as a character. Because I felt like in this, she didn't have much of a
Mm,
character. She was kind of just there and doing and she did a lot of thinking. She
yeah.
didn't do a lot of doing and action, but she thought about things a lot.
Yeah.
And she had lots of dreams, which were, often completely unhelpful. So
Yeah.
no, I think she was a bit of a damp squib in this one. Actually, I was reading this. I went, my friend Georgia Bowers, who I know you
Yeah.
know.
Georgia.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, this is wobbling. I went on a little writing retreat with her, and it was my bedtime reading, and I would just sit there, and every now and then I'd be like, Georgia, you're not going to guess what Jenny's doing now. Like, oh God, it's terrible. Like, yeah. So Georgia got a whole recap as well because I was like, well, this has happened.
Oh
Um,
dear.
yeah, she was just a bit of a non-entity, really.
Yeah.
Quite like Eli's character. He was
Hmm.
quite a full-formed little, because he wasn't in it much, but
No.
you kind of got the impression of who he was.
Yeah, definitely. And oh, what a little shit
Yeah,
he was. I mean, I feel sorry for Jenny in a way that she basically the therapist didn't care and was just like, yeah, do what you want, Jenny, go and babysit if you want. And then she goes and babysits this little brat
yeah,
who is
but like
just,
a genius, wasn't
yeah.
he?
I mean, I have to admire, like, building a computer in the
Yeah,
90s and a mobile phone. in the 90s. He was, I do agree, he was a bit of a
Yeah, he
genius
was very
there.
clever.
Yeah,
But yeah, he was a good little character. But again, it was just Jenny just thought a lot
yeah,
about it, and then she would just like leave him to it.
yeah. It's just
Okay, bye, Eli. You do what you want.
bye.
Yeah. So
Oh, but it was weird as well. Did you like? I got the impression, and I looked back. I did a blog post years and years ago about this book, and I looked back to see what I'd written back then, and I still thought the same that Eli had a little 10-year-old crush on Jenny.
yeah,
Yeah,
probably, but written in that way of like, oh well, if he pushes you
yeah,
over, it means he's in love with you.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
like that really like
yeah,
childish kind of 10-year-old crush kind of thing.
yeah.
And I wrote in my notes this time, I'm sure like it does come across like when she has her friends over, especially, and
Oh yeah,
you
he
know,
doesn't like the guy, does he?
no,
Um,
definitely not.
and I think because the parents kind of don't do anything. Maybe I think it was meant to be showing that Jenny was trying to give him some structure, and actually he really appreciated that. You know,
Yeah, that's true. The parents
yeah.
really didn't do much
No, they were like,
for
he's
him.
evil. Sorry, we're gonna leave you with him. He's horrible.
Don't upset
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
Just let him be. Let him watch his little horror films.
We're gonna go
Get the
out
gore.
four
Get the
nights a week.
gore. Get the gore out of his
Yeah,
system.
it's like okay.
Yeah, they didn't care
Yeah.
much, did they? Definitely. What did I write about Jenny? I put. Oh, I did make a note of her fashion with the tie dye
Oh,
t-shirt that she was wearing.
there was some, and what was her ex-boyfriend called? Chuck.
Oh, Chuck.
And Chuck appears at one point in denim cutoffs and a Bart Simpson t-shirt, and I was just like, it's the most. Oh
I
my
mean, I
God.
have to admit that would have done it for me back in the
Do you
day.
think so? The Bart Simpson, I don't know. Oh, it was just brilliant. And first of all, I thought denim cutoffs on a man just.
It was
I
quite
just
the vision. Quite
Yeah,
the
it
vision.
was because you just got. I personally just imagined like hot pants. I was
Oh
like, where
no.
is this going? Yeah,
Oh
there was
dear.
some
Yeah.
questionable fashion in it. There was one mention though of she is wearing something. I should make notes really, but she's wearing something and it's an orange and lime green combo.
Oh,
And you think
nice.
nice, and but when I read it, I was like, but that was trendy because
Yeah.
I did that. I remember that color combination being a thing, and I had this. I think it was a green jumper, and I had like a really neon orange polo neck, but I would wear the collar over the jumper, and I thought I was really cool because it was like such an edgy color
Oh,
combination. So yeah, I own up to that one.
oh. You
My
need photo
favorite,
evidence, Cynthia.
thankfully, I don't think it exists. Um, there is, it's not in this book, so it's in one of the other ones.
Mm.
And she goes on a date and she's waiting at the top of the stairs and it describes her outfit. And one part of the outfit is thick green
Wow.
tights. And I even remember thinking then, like, no, that's not good. But that wasn't in this one.
Oh, I'm sad now. Can't wait to get to that one now. But yeah, I liked the nod to the tie dye. And basically, all I really wrote about Jenny was that she runs around flapping her arms, and her imagination just runs wild along with it.
Yeah. I mean,
Comic
I'm glad she was in
genius.
therapy because she needed it.
Yeah,
Like, you know,
definitely.
um, so I'm glad some like attempt was being made, especially for the 90s.
Yeah,
It's quite forward thinking, really. But yeah, she was just
mm,
a bit of a sad sack in this one.
definitely. And Sharon said, "How awful were all the males in this book? Oh, don't get me
Yeah,
started."
Chuck was ugh,
Oh,
Chuck was just
Chuck.
awful. He's like, yes, I know you nearly died, but I'm angry because you don't want to be my girlfriend anymore.
No,
Um,
he's
and who
just
the other friend, I can't remember his name now. Who
Rick.
Yeah, as soon as they were alone for fight, even when that happened, when he tried to kiss her when she was babysitting, I was like, oh my God, what are you doing? That's
Oh,
awful. Poor Jenny.
yeah.
Like,
Oh,
yeah, she's a bit of a magnet for creeps, isn't she?
yeah. Well, Chuck, if we talk about him for a second, no, Chuck, no, 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 throwing Jenny on the floor the way that he
Mm,
did,
on the
which was also
pavement.
like, yeah, on the pavement. And like no one came over to help her either.
No,
Like I
but he
mean,
didn't mean it. I'm
I'm
just trying to talk to you, Jenny. Yeah,
just
he
trying to
was
talk to
awful.
you. Yeah. I mean, I've put here, if a guy smacks your head off the curb, it's probably not advisable to ignore him and take the ignore him and he might go away
Yeah.
approach. You need to kind of report him and get him out of your
She
life.
really is such a victim, isn't she? Bless her. Like,
Mm,
yeah,
yeah,
so sad.
not
But then
good.
who can, she's got no one to tell because she's got a friend who tries to snog her the minute she like looks at him, and her mum's never there,
No.
you know.
And in the first book, she did have a best friend called Laura, who is non existent in this book. So I take it Laura just ditched her
Is-
after the whole.
Does she move schools?
Oh,
There's
does
some kind
she?
of, oh, she's about to start at a new school, or there's something
Ah,
like that in there. Oh,
maybe.
but right, I remember reading somewhere that R.L. Stine at one point of his career in point horror didn't
Mm.
edit his books.
Ah,
He was so busy, he was like, no, that's it, it's done now.
yeah, done.
That's your problem.
Next.
And I feel like this is one of them that you can
Mm.
kind of tell because, like, some sentences were just repeated,
Yeah,
or some
yeah.
ideas were just repeated over and over. And there was a bit where oh, maybe she was moving schools, or
Mm.
were they
Yeah,
her new friends?
maybe.
I don't know. It was just a little bit. You
Yeah,
didn't really know what was going
definitely.
on. It was a skim read, I won't lie, but so I might have missed something.
No, you might be right there because I was like, wait, where's Laura from the first book? They were besties in the first
Yeah,
book, and now she's disappeared, and
because I
she's
get the
got
impression these are new
yeah.
friends.
So we got Rick and Claire. So Rick, Rick made me laugh, right? Because I'll just read you the quote that I wrote down about Rick. So so basically, for me, like he was just comical in a way, but not like when he does that to a Jenny on the SETTER. But when they had that tennis match, that just did it for me. I thought that whole scene was hilarious, where he's like rage hitting the ball and stuff. But he's obsessed with working, obviously, in his uncle's shoe shop. And there's a couple of times where he's like, "Oh no, if we're late, Uncle Bill will take my shoehorn away." And
Yeah.
I was,
I
oh
assumed
no.
that was humour, but you never know, I suppose.
But the best thing was after the tennis match. So obviously he's trying to come on to Jenny, show he's interested a little bit, and he goes, "Come to the shoe store sometime. I'll show you how to work a shoehorn." And I was like,
What does
"Oh
that
no."
mean?
Well, that's just
Ew.
wrong on so many levels. And I
I
was
don't think
like,
I've ever
oh,
heard a shoehorn be mentioned in another book
no,
ever.
no.
And he manages to get it in. He managed to shoehorn it in twice.
Shoehorn,
Yeah.
ba-dum.
That was a
But
Georgia joke. She would
I love
appreciate
that.
that.
But yeah, he made the shoehorn sound somewhat sexy and then ruined it by forcing himself on
I did
Jenny.
not read it that way, I'm afraid.
Just my mind.
Yeah.
um, Arcade's Liverpool home said, I tried to read the first one but didn't have time and it lost me when Chuck put the egg slices on his eyes. So in the first book,
Yeah.
he does questionable things with the egg slices and bananas, which we never get an answer to what he does with the banana.
I think I think that egg thing is in a couple of R.L. Stine books, you know. I think
Mm.
there's a Fear Street with it in. I think it's like to show a goofy guy. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's I think there's
Oh.
fried eggs in one.
Oh, is
Yeah, I'm
there?
sure there is. I'm
And he
sure
loves
there
an
is.
egg cracking death, doesn't he, Stein? So he's
Yeah.
obviously a bit a fan of
Yeah, he
eggs.
likes his protein, you know.
um, C. Al Ingram said, I managed to guess the caller in this one from really early on, so I was super proud of myself.
Yeah,
It's weird because this one stayed with me. I've always remembered who the reveal is. So, spoilers ahead,
yeah.
the reveal is Mrs. Gurney. I want to say you
Yeah,
pronounce it.
which I
Yeah.
mean, obviously we know why that name was picked, but is that a real name? Is there anyone actually really called that in the world? Like,
Yeah, with her rhinestone horn rimmed glasses.
I had a really clear image of her actually, and it was a bit like you know, in Clueless, the teacher. What's she
Oh,
called? That
yeah.
he that he that. Sherry's trying to set up
Yes.
with the other teacher, and she's got that kind of messy hair and her lipstick's all smudged, and she's always hectic. That's what I imagined her to be
Yeah.
like. And it's funny because I didn't remember who it was
Mm.
until she appeared on the page, and I was like,
Ah.
ah, now I remember. Now I know who it is. But it was
Yeah.
quite a clever little, because she wasn't in it all the time,
No, she wasn't
but
mentioned that
she
much.
was in it and weird enough, and had the she was able to do
Yeah.
it. Do you know, it didn't come at the end and you were like, how did she manage to find all that out and
Yeah.
know that? Like, it was quite obvious that she was earwigging on everything.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like listening to all the tapes and stuff. But
Yeah.
what made me laugh was that she used to be a patient of
Yeah.
Dr. Schindler, I think his name was. Used to be a
It just so,
patient. And I'm like, okay,
because this
you
must have
know.
been around Schindler's List.
Yeah, it's got to
Like, what
be.
is it? 89, 91, kind of?
Yeah, something
That's
like that,
got to be
92 something.
91, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
But
got to be.
so she was a patient, and then oh, she's been doing okay for 3 years. So I knew there was something wrong with her, but I still employed her with
Yeah.
all the patient confidentiality.
Yeah, she's a violent stalker
That
patient though.
was
She's
it.
not just she's not been in a car crash and like has to talk about,
Yeah,
survivor guilt or something. She was like she was a bad lady.
yeah, she really
Yeah.
was. Oh dear, but yeah, I've always, for some reason, remembered the reveal, and I don't know why it stuck with me. Perhaps when I was a teen, I was really shocked by the reveal, like, oh,
Yeah.
and then it just stayed with me. But I've always remembered it, and I think, as you say, the image that is created of Mrs. Gurney as well is quite memorable.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's obviously just stuck in my head because I just imagined her as like Dame Edna
Yeah.
Everage, like with the glasses and the hair and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah. Emma said
Oh.
I like recaps too, but wasn't keen on the therapy sessions.
No. I mean, if I did that now, if I handed in a book now with that,
Yeah,
my editor would be like, absolutely no
yeah,
way.
no,
Like,
definitely.
let's, yeah. We need to find a show, don't tell, Cynthia. Like, we need a different way. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very much very telling. Every time she went to the therapist, I'm like, oh, here we go, story time.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, like I said, it was a good kind of way about it. I wish she had a friend to tell instead. Do you know, I wish she had
Yeah,
a mate to talk to about it, but
yeah,
it did the
definitely.
job, didn't it? And obviously, with who the killer ended up
Mm,
being, it was necessary to get all of that information
yeah,
to the
definitely.
doctor. But yeah, he was rubbish.
Oh, the
Um,
doctor.
yeah,
He really was bad. I mean, was he? I don't even know where to begin with him. He was just pants. It's like,
yeah,
yeah, don't really care. Do what you want.
yeah. And then
Hurry
the
up, time.
in the parking lot, he was just creepy. He
Oh,
wasn't like
yeah.
reassuring or anything. He was
Yeah.
just, yeah, like,
Oh, and
mm.
there was a scene as well. I'm gonna write the page number down.
Let's
So
have a
it
look.
must have been a juicy one. Page 121. Oh yeah. So he's like, so she's there telling him about Eli, and at this point, Eli has pushed Claire down the stairs, who we never hear about again. So we don't really know what happened there. But then
Oh, do
he's
we
like,
not?
"Oh, do
No,
we? Have
I
I
don't
missed
know.
it?"
I think she does just have a.
She just has
Oh, yeah.
in hospital.
They sent an ambulance and
Mm.
called for paramedics. I mean, so that's quite
Yeah.
serious. Like, if you
So we
didn't
don't
take them
actually
long
know
to get
like
there, Claire
what.
woke up before they arrived.
Oh.
She was pretty much okay. She hit her head pretty hard.
Oh, let's hope she didn't spill the M&Ms
So
because she was trying to give Eli the M&Ms,
I
wasn't she?
know. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd be friends with Jenny after that. I think I'd be
No.
just keep my
Yeah.
distance while my
Keep my
head healed a little
distance.
bit. Yeah.
But I just love the way that Dr. Schindler's like pushing Jenny at this point. It's like, but Claire thinks Eli pushed her down the stairs. She wasn't sure. No, Jenny shook her head. But if Eli didn't push her, why was he grinning like that? What do you think?
Yeah.
Dr. Schindler asked. I don't know. Do you think Eli pushed your friend Jenny? So this whole exchange, and he's like just pushing her, like gaslighting her in a way that like this didn't really happen.
Yeah. Do you think he is evil? That's not, it's like a police, it's like she's being interviewed now.
But I just love how that chapter ends as well. I think on the oh no, it's not. It's half a
Yeah.
chapter. He finishes. Well, do you think he's evil?
Yeah.
Maybe. Oh dear, rubbish therapist. Where did he get his diplomas from? Caroline says, "I love a recap. My memory's awful."
Yeah,
Um,
it was very useful because I was
yeah,
going to read the first one and it just
yeah.
saved me the job of it. And but I mean, all you really need to know from the first one is the
Stalky,
kid's dad,
stalky
yeah,
babysitter
was a bad man.
and the dad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Teddy
Yeah.
says the misogyny in this book was strong. Yeah,
Oh, it's
definitely.
90s point ever. Like
Yeah,
you're just
definitely.
ready for it, aren't you, when you open one?
Yeah.
It's because then should we get on to the new love interest?
Oh,
Oh
Cal.
my goodness. So R.L. Stine's got a proper thing for boys with white blonde hair. Have you ever
Yeah.
noticed?
Yes, definitely.
It's a proper, a real trope that he kind of does
Mm,
over. Because
mm.
is it the snowman?
Yes, the
That's
snowman
yeah.
with his red scarf.
The first kid Jenny babysits, I'm sure, is a
Yeah, he
little
had
blondie.
blonde white hair, which she was obsessed with.
Yeah,
Ah, she was obsessed with
yeah.
his hair.
So
Yeah,
that's something to unpack
yeah,
maybe for
definitely.
RL. But yeah, I was waiting for something with that character. He was
Mm.
set up to be something. And then I was like, is this the one where there's an undercover cop?
Ah,
Because but then I remembered what book that was out of, and I was
yeah,
like, and that's what I was kind of waiting for, like for him to redeem himself. I mean, it was still weird and creepy because he would have been a lot older and like kissing her and stuff. But
yeah.
I was just a bit like,
A
oh,
bit.
so you're just,
You're
why are
just
you here? Like,
Cal.
yeah, you just a boy
Yeah,
from the wrong side of the tracks, but who can play tennis really well.
but
Like, it was
pretends he doesn't.
exactly, it was setting it up for him to be someone
Yeah, I
else.
agree.
And from what I know, I don't think he's in the next one.
I don't think he is off the top of my head. It's been a while
No.
since I read
Yeah,
the
me
next
too.
one, but
I'll go and check it after this though. But yeah,
yeah,
he just is. He's just there to drive her to the
yeah.
thing,
He
basically.
just he doesn't really do much. I mean, all I wrote down was that he got her an Hawaiian shirt, which yeah, and then a scratched up like Dodge Dart car, scar on his chin.
Yeah, I
Um,
was imagining Spike from
yes,
Buffy or like Billy Idol. That's very much how he was written, wasn't he? Like he was a bad boy in a leather jacket and blonde spiky hair, and that's who I kept thinking of.
yeah,
Um,
no,
but even he
definitely.
was ooh, like there was bits
Mm.
where he seemed all right, and then he would be like really weird and moody and
Yeah,
like gropey and
and
oh
then
yeah, it was horrible.
like I legit think now this might just be a me thing because you know what my smutty mind's like. But that first date he took her onto the party, that was an orgy. That was. It definitely was.
It was
And she's like,
just
"This isn't my
no.
scene."
It was like couples making out everywhere. It was one of those very high school parties that you see in a movie,
Yeah,
like American Pie style. He was yeah, taking her there to see what
yeah.
what she could what
There's
he could
definitely
get away with.
there's an orgy that was definitely.
Well, I'm very glad that Jenny was like, no, this is not my thing.
Yeah,
Let's go.
I was very
Because in
proud.
all other aspects of her life, she's a little bit of a walkover. So yeah, good for her.
Oh, and then what was with him meeting Jenny at the back of the clothing bins in the car park? Like,
Because yeah,
I just
did he work in the
he
mall or
worked
something?
in the oh well he worked in the ice cream shop, didn't he?
Yes.
Um, and they had this really weird ice cream flirting exchange as well, where he was like, "I can probably get you some sprinkles on it if you're good," and Jenny goes, "Oh, I'm very good," and I was
That's
like,
horrible.
"Oh." I don't want to read
No,
anymore.
that's not nice.
Yeah, so he works
Um,
in the ice cream place, but
yeah,
he gets her to meet around the back of the dart bins.
and
Very
that's
convenient.
it was like the real life thing of her dream coming true, wasn't it? That dream that she'd
Yeah,
had, which is another reason why I say like that was just the same scene written twice, and he's like, oh, where
yeah.
can I stick that one in now? I need to use that
Whack it
scene.
in
Get my
again.
word count up, and Because that dream one, I was a bit like, oh, this is quite
Mm,
nicely written. This is quite
yeah,
interesting. And I was like, but what's going on? And what? And it was just nothing. She was
yeah.
just having a dream.
And then I
Yeah.
think with the dream scenes as well, especially the ones with Mr. Hagen, like I really appreciated the grossness that Stein,
Yeah.
classic Stein, the eye hanging out
Yeah.
and things like that.
When I read
Um,
that one, when he's coming out of the dumpster,
yeah,
I did think when I was reading that when I was 10 or 11, I would have had no idea that that was a dream.
yeah,
Like that would have fully got me, and I would have been like, "Oh my God, he's back from the dead!" And it really would have,
yeah,
it would have
definitely.
freaked me out. So yeah, I did appreciate that as well. And
Yeah,
obviously, you read it now and you know it's what he's doing, but
yeah.
definitely, oh, when I was reading it first time round, that would have probably scared me.
Yeah. And I always remember like in Dexter in The Boyfriend, um not to give anything away, but the way that Stein writes like the flesh falling off his face and things
Yeah,
like that, it very much reminded me of that. And
yeah,
Stein does that
he's
really well, like that
good at gory.
grossness, yeah. And I kind of but then I want it to carry on. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So at the end I wanted a little bit more grossness, but you never know, it might have been edited out or whatnot. So yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, because you're right, he does do it. He does
Mm,
do it really well. And it was good for that bit, because like I said, you would be like, oh my God, he's back from the dead, and this what a plot
yeah.
twist. Like this is
Yeah.
crazy. And yeah, it's a shame that there
Hmm.
wasn't a little bit more. But
Yeah.
I think this was probably contracted to be a sequel, and he was like, yeah, let's just
Yeah.
write this really quick and move on to something
Well, I
else.
think definitely by the time he got to the fourth book, he was very much in that mind, definitely.
Yeah. It does.
um,
I wonder if they were like meant to be sequels,
mm,
or if the babysitter just did so well that they were like,
yeah.
"Do you want to do another
Do
one?"
another one.
You just don't
Yeah.
know, do you? Because I
Yeah.
can't see. I think this was a bit of a non-story, so you can't. It's got no like
Yeah.
trilogy arc, has it? You could take it out, and it just wouldn't
Yeah,
matter.
like you wouldn't
Yeah.
have to do another book after this. It doesn't really
No.
leave you on
No.
like a cliffhanger.
No. And
Definitely not.
he says he's a cliffhanger guy. Do you know? He
Mm,
likes to do a
yeah,
cliffhanger, and he does one at the
yeah,
end of every chapter when he can.
yeah, definitely. Um, Trina said all the boys were awful. Yeah, in this one, I'm a bit behind on comments, so I'll catch up. C.L. Ingram said, yes, the misogyny and the red flags in all of the males, which, as we say, like, it's not an excuse, but it's a sign of the times. I think in
Yeah.
the 90s and the way that, especially books written for teenage girls, I think were these point horrors, for example, were written very much with that all the time. I
Yeah.
just remember reading loads of
The
that.
boyfriends
Um,
are always rubbish, aren't
yeah,
they?
definitely. Yeah, April said I was shocked there was a full on domestic violence scene. Yeah. I mean, it was a shocking scene, that whole Chuck pushing her on the floor and stuff. It really
Yeah.
was like horrific to read, to be
But
honest.
again, that was it. It was kind of left,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
There wasn't really
There
any
was no
resolution.
repercussion from it. Yeah, no resolution from
Yeah.
it. C.L. Ingram said Jenny needed to bin all those men off.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Should have just got with Claire, you know.
Jenny just needs to find herself,
Yeah.
like, go traveling and,
Stop
become a Buddhist or
babysitting.
something. Yeah. Just, yeah.
Yeah.
She, poor
I
Jenny.
know. Bless her.
Yeah.
Karen said her therapist was described literally as Chris Hemsworth. I am signing up for
Was it
therapy
good?
at her office.
I do
What?
remember,
Let me
yeah,
see if
at the
I wrote
beginning. Is
down
it right at the start?
his description. Let me see. Did I write it down? Normally I do.
He is like a
Um,
hottie, isn't he?
oh, here
Let
we
me
go.
see.
He was handsome, young, tanned, tall, wavery, coppery hair,
Oh,
blonde eyebrows, so the blonde again, and startling green
that's
eyes.
very detailed, isn't it?
No, yeah, very
Hmm.
detailed. Raj said this book was an absolute wild ride. Yeah, definitely. Emma said for her, Jenny had no personality. I agree with that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think she
definitely.
did. Not in this
Yeah,
one. I think
no.
that. I think it just relied on you having read the first one
Yeah,
and having an
definitely.
idea about her. Yeah.
Yeah. Raj said Jenny didn't pass the vibe check for me.
No. There were
No,
no vibes, were there? Bless her.
no.
She did just think a lot. She just kind of, like I
Mm,
said, she just didn't really do anything. And,
yeah.
people were like friends with her, and you're a bit like, why? Like, I, I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, we just felt sorry for her.
I
Matthew
think I
said,
was annoyed at her more than anything.
getting
Especially at the end where
irritated.
she's like, I'm gonna go to the quarry. Like, oh, come on. Like, I'm sorry. I don't want
Yeah,
to victim blame people, but if you are gonna drive out there when you know someone's after you, then
yeah, yeah.
you
It
are
was like
kind of
she was
waiting for it to happen.
trying to set a trap, but yeah,
Mm.
she didn't know the quarry had been filled in with water and whatnot. So yeah.
Just, oh.
um, Matthew said, "Yeah, I don't feel like Jenny developed much as a character in this one." Yeah,
Yeah, she didn't learn
no,
anything by the
no,
end, did she?
no.
No.
She's just gonna do it all over again.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Um,
good money. Like, I'll just carry on babysitting.
Sharon said she needs to give up babysitting, but she's a very bland character.
Yeah.
Yeah, Teddy said very bland in this one. Billy said Eli's parents being petrified of him, laughy face. But to be fair, if my son was able to build a working phone by himself, I'd be scared too. Yeah,
That's true. Yeah, just too
yeah,
clever.
yeah.
But it was actually the descriptions of, I think it was Mum in particular, I quite liked. She
Mm.
was very like late 80s, early 90s, wasn't she? She had
Yeah.
like short hair and, like off the shoulder things. And so they were just probably, they didn't want a kid. They just wanted to
No.
keep going out,
Yeah,
you
party
know.
time.
Yeah. And the kid was clever enough to look after himself, so that's fine.
Speed Chick said Jenny drives me nuts. Emma said yes, Eli was a good character.
He was probably the best character, the
Yeah,
most interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Um, Melina said creepy Eli was the saving grace of this book. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is kind of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Sharon said Eli, the mini psycho.
Yeah. Just, oh yeah. So many red
Tam's
flags. But also just wanted somebody to play with him, didn't he?
he just wanted to be loved,
Yeah,
didn't he? He
he
just wanted
did.
to be loved. Then he loved hugging Jenny as well, and I thought, yeah, perhaps you don't get much hugs
Yeah.
from like the parents. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Tam said Eli reminded me of the boy from the film The Omen from the 80s, Damien.
Oh,
He's just misunderstood.
yeah. Yeah. He was just he was ahead of his time, wasn't he? He needed
Yeah,
the internet.
yeah,
He would have found his
definitely.
friends on the internet. You're like, oh, either that or it would have made him a complete
Oh
and utter
gosh,
terror.
yeah.
But yeah.
Kelly said Eli was possibly autistic and it was a typical 90s treatment of people being different. That's very
Yeah,
true.
maybe.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's true. Teddy said Eli could have his own Point Horror spin off. He's clearly going to be a complete psycho.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. C.L. Ingram said, I think it's really sweet that Eli seemed to care about Jenny. He did seem to care about
Towards
her.
the end, yeah. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, and it's probably just, his way of trying
Yeah.
to communicate with somebody who's older,
Yeah.
like
Definitely.
making these jokes. Saying that though, the bit where he like pretended to be dead on the
No.
floor, I was like, I'd be gone. I'd be ringing the parents and saying,
Yeah.
I'm really sorry,
Not
but I
coming
think,
back.
yeah, a little bit out of my pay grade. This I'm gonna. When you come
Because
home tonight, that's it.
because he's got like that fake plastic blood that you can do you remember
Yeah,
it from the 90s? I
yeah,
remember that. Because I can remember the feel of it as well. But he got that fake plastic blood and it really fooled her as
yeah.
well.
The way he was lying in
Oh
his
dear.
bedroom. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I thought that was quite good.
Yeah. And I want to know how he ended up with tarantulas as pets. Like, did the parents just give in? Like, did he just beg them
Probably,
and just said,
yeah.
"Yeah, you can have
I think
them"?
we all went through that. I remember I wanted a snake at one point, and my mum
Oh.
and dad were just like, no. But I think I just wanted to be different, and I just wanted a pet that was like easy to look after. I don't know. Um,
Oh dear.
yeah, I
Oh,
think it
I
was
couldn't
just
have
a
the snake.
thing in the 90s
Yeah.
to have like a bit of a strange pet.
Mm.
So
I don't know. I was always like, no, I'm too scared. I'm scared of snakes, like really bad. Do you remember when we read April Fools and there was the whole snake thing? And I was like,
yeah,
oh, Cynthia, I don't like snakes.
yeah. No, I
Yeah,
wouldn't.
not a
No,
fan.
I couldn't do it now. I couldn't feed them mice.
Oh no. Um,
But
Kelly said, yeah, the parents couldn't get out of the house quick enough.
yeah, they would like,
Yeah,
but and they were where were they going? Because they were out like all day at the weekends. I
yeah,
understand for work maybe, but like they were always dressed up and going somewhere.
yeah.
I was like, I've
Mm.
never had that kind of a social life where you're out on like a Wednesday in your best gear, you know.
Social life of
But
dreams.
yeah,
Um,
in whatever little place they live in. But yeah,
Caroline said those random dramatic hugs Eli kept giving to Jenny too. Yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
yeah.
Melina,
See,
oh,
I would
sorry,
be
go on.
like, oh, if you're doing it in front of the parents, that's definitely a way to try and get the parents' attention.
Yeah,
Like, I like Jenny more than
yeah.
you.
And like Emma's put, I felt sorry for Eli. His parents couldn't be bothered with him.
No, not at
Yeah,
all. He was a good little character.
yeah.
Um,
And Matthew says, I don't blame his parents trying to get away as fast as they could. They birthed a little monster.
oh, well, he's got it from
Oh,
somewhere.
well, yeah. Lena said, "Yeah, Chuck was vile." Sorry,
Yeah,
I've got a little bit behind. Um,
I try not
oh, our cozy,
to read them because I get distracted.
our cozy Liverpool home said, "I had a lime green silky Spice Girls jacket. It was
Oh,
my favourite
nice.
item of clothing. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, definitely
We need
some
photos."
just lime green and orange. I remember it being a thing, and I don't know, maybe a Spice Girl wore it or something because I
Yeah.
remember it being like a weird little trend. And oh God,
Those were the days.
I know.
C.L. Ingram said, I was so annoyed at Chuck. He was such a funny character in book one, and then book two, he turned full creepy psycho. Yeah, I think R.L. Stein, like he was okay in book one, but I feel like he was done a disservice in this book. They
Yeah,
really made him
I
awful.
think it was a really short book that was like trying to maybe introduce some meaty stuff, and then
Yeah,
it just none of it ever went. And there was too many things going on, and none of
yeah,
it ever went anywhere.
no, definitely.
Um, because Chuck isn't even at the end, is he? Because I was kind of
No,
expecting him to come and redeem himself,
yeah,
like that he'd been, he'd flag the police or something, but no,
yeah.
he's not, is
It was
he?
obviously just the red herring, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Matthew said, yeah, Chuck completely changed. Billy said Chuck was great in book one, but awful in this one.
Yeah.
Emma had a lime green and orange outfit too.
Yeah, so I'm
Yay!
right. It was a thing.
Emma said as well, Chuck made me wanna Chuck.
Yeah, he was just terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trina said the new boyfriend, so Cal being weird on their date, and she even kissed him. I was like,
But she didn't
what?
just kiss him, like she properly went for it, didn't she?
Yeah.
It was a proper like, I just have to kiss him now. Um, it wasn't just a little peck.
No,
Yeah,
she went full on
she
for it. Yeah,
did.
Matthew said, yeah, that kissing Cal's car on the first date was next level awkward.
Mm,
Who does that as a tension breaker?
I know, yeah. Like things are weird in here. Let's make out.
Let's
But
snog.
yeah. Oh God.
Scott said, I enjoyed the scene where Jenny goes on the bus leaving Chuck ranting in the rain.
Yeah,
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 that
she
was
does leave
good.
him to it. Yeah.
Billy said, I was gutted Laura didn't appear in this one as I thought she was great in the first one. Yeah, I was a bit gutted Laura wasn't in it.
I want to read the next one now because I want to see who makes it
Yeah,
back
well,
in the thing.
I really want to do number three like later this year. So you have to come back on and do number three with us,
Yeah.
definitely.
I'm just trying
Um,
to, I think I found. Yeah, Claire and Rick were Jenny's new friends she'd made after the terrifying events involving the Hagans. Oh, she had known Claire since elementary school, but they'd never
oh,
been close. Rick was a long-time buddy of Claire's. Now they formed a comfortable trio.
oh.
So
Oh,
she's obviously not moved schools or anything, but they're new old friends.
yeah. Oh,
Mm.
so she definitely did ditch Laura.
She must have done, yeah. It doesn't say, it doesn't even mention her, does it?
No.
No.
Kelly said it's a common theme in point horror books that the boys and men being inappropriate and stroppy. It doesn't speak very well about how things were in the 90s. Exactly. Definitely
Yeah.
sign of the times. Um, Karen said she says she got rid of everyone and got new friends for a fresh start as everyone reminded her of the trauma.
Ah,
Oh, that makes sense.
okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, Laura.
Oh, bless. Our cozy Liverpool home said the new boyfriend, when she'd known him literally 10 minutes, and she kept saying, "That's not like him," as if she'd known him forever.
And also when he quite clearly had two personalities that she couldn't figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
She has massive
strange.
attachment issues, definitely.
Yeah, it was obviously just we need one more character to look a bit dodgy.
Yeah. Bit more of
Yeah,
a red herring.
yeah,
CL Ingram said, yeah, what kind of influence did we have in the 90s? Yeah, it was amazing, really.
yeah.
Emma said maybe he had a bet with another writer and he had to sneak the shoehorn into the book. Yeah, I
That
love
would be,
that.
yeah.
Is that a thing? Like, do you ever do that?
Yeah, I do remember I had like a debut group. So when my first book was coming out, I had a little Twitter group chat with all of the authors
Yeah,
whose books were coming out. And we were like, we need a secret code for when something good happens, but you're not allowed to talk. So, you know, when you get offered a book deal or whatever,
yeah,
you're not allowed to talk about it for like
yeah,
months.
yeah,
So they were like, we need like a little emoji or something. So then that would
yeah.
be used. And then someone was like, we need to try and sneak that emoji into
Oh,
all
I
of our
love
books that
it.
we're writing this year. I don't know if anyone actually did it. I don't think I ever managed to do it, but it
Oh, I
would be
love
quite funny
that.
to read and be like, oh, I know why that's
Yeah,
in
that's
there.
like the secret code. Oh, I
Yeah.
love that.
So maybe, you never know. Definitely,
Mm.
like there's in Win, Lose, Kill, Die, they've got a little leaflet and it's about a place called Gallow Forge. And that was because Georgia was writing a book at the time set in a place called Gallow Forge. And nothing ever happened with
Oh,
that book. I hope it does one day because it was really good.
yeah.
Um, but that will always be in there now. And
Oh, I
she's
love
kind of the only
that.
person who knows what that is.
Yeah. Oh, no, but that's really cool. I love
Yeah.
that.
So you never
Yeah.
know. He could have had a little joke
Yeah.
with someone one night and was like, right, well, I'll put it in. Yeah.
I'll create this character who has a shoehorn fetish
Yeah.
and fancies Jenny.
And that's the only reason he's in there. Yeah.
Caroline says the egg thing, the classic point horror prankster. Yeah.
Yeah.
Teddy said I didn't see the reveal coming. I'm embarrassed to say.
But she's not in it
Um,
very much.
no,
Like
definitely not.
it's one of
Yeah.
those it trod that very fine line between oh okay
Mm,
and oh no that doesn't make sense. I
yeah.
feel cheated, you know. It was a fine line. Definitely.
Definitely.
I think it was just set up well enough at the beginning that you go, "Oh, okay, I can
Yeah.
I can
No.
see what's happening there."
Yeah.
But I mean, how old was
I
she?
know that's what I thought when
You
it got to
know.
the end. I was like, because I kind of imagined her like in her 50s.
Yeah, I imagined it like old, not like grandma old, but like late middle age kind of,
Yeah.
yeah, probably late 50s.
That's
But
how I
she
imagined her.
yeah, but
um, Stargazer said, I thought Miss Gurney was a great choice, but I didn't see it coming at all until the end. Trina
I
said,
mean
I
that's
thought it
quite
was
good
the
really,
doctor.
isn't it?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is good. Trina said, thought it was the doctor. So that was like the clear setup that it was going to
Yeah.
be. Yeah, and Teddy said, I pictured her exactly as the teacher in Clueless, like you said,
Right.
Cynthia.
Yeah. Yeah, she must have been
Um,
described with like
yeah.
crazy hair and stuff.
Emma said the cliffhangers in this one were terrible. Next chapter, it was just a joke. Next chapter, it was just a
That's
dream.
just typical R.L. Stein, though. It's like,
Definitely.
and he pushed me to my death. And then the next chapter is like, oh, he didn't. I just fell over. It was okay.
Just
And
tripped.
yeah, it is just, yeah. Such a body was dead. Oh, no, they're not. They're not. It's fine. Yeah.
It was just a
Yeah.
prank. um, Stargazer said, I thought it was Dr. Schindler and he was related to the father from the first one.
Oh,
Yeah, that would have
okay.
been a cool
Yeah.
twist. Yeah,
I think it
definitely.
did set it up to be him. Yeah.
Mm. Emma said, I wanted the killer to be Cal, the original killer's long lost son.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, because the hair, the blonde hair, and maybe that
mm,
was meant to be a bit of a red herring. I did
yeah,
feel like I just wanted to know what Cal's deal was. Was he like a rich kid gone bad,
yeah.
or like because he knew all of these sports and yeah,
We needed more, definitely needed more info on
yeah.
Cal,
I
definitely.
wanted something. Yeah,
Raj said the doctor was a total nut job. Yeah. Kelly said, to be fair, I think Jenny was the only one who behaved appropriately to the situation. Yeah, definitely. Raj said, I feel like we have so many unanswered questions on Eli as well.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. Eli's just in a young offenders institute somewhere, isn't he? Bless him.
C.L. Ingram said, also, I'd be so mad if my friends turned up to my babysitting job and risked it and then offer the kid food when you don't know if they have any food allergies.
Oh,
That's
food allergies
true.
weren't real in the 90s. No
It
one
didn't
had a food
exist.
allergy. Yeah. You just got
Oh.
on with it. Your throat just got a bit itchy. Yeah. Oh my God, that wouldn't have even been thought
No.
about, would it? No.
Um, Billy said Eli needs to come back as the killer in the Babysitter 5. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be cool. um, Emma says, what was that party about the orgy that Cal took her to? And Tam said, yeah, it was Shelley. I thought the same. All those bodies kissing everywhere. Um, Matthew says the guys always have this weird anger boiling under the surface, and when she sees it, instead of running a mile, she leans in for a kiss.
Yeah. Yeah. They do, don't they? They always have this
Yeah,
strange kind of I think
yeah,
probably the friend, is it Rick? He was the only one
mm,
who like he was embarrassed with himself, wasn't he?
yeah,
And whatever. And I think he was saved by the bell when Claire fell down the stairs. But he chanced it, but at least he wasn't then like, oh no, but you made me do it, and it was
yeah,
you were coming on to me, and
yeah,
he just
definitely.
chanced his arm, didn't he? But usually, yeah, it's like, but you've been leading me on, and yeah,
No, definitely. So obviously the ending, you have this whole like quarry setup. Like she goes back to the quarry, as we said, normal thing to do.
yeah,
And then obviously gets Cal to hide behind this rubble, and then there's this whole dramatic thing of Jenny and Mrs. Gurney falling in the water, and she's trying to drown her. So, what did you think? Did you think that was done well, like a good dramatic end?
yeah. I think so. I think it went very fast, whether I was reading it quickly or
Yeah,
it was confusing what was
yeah,
actually going on and who was in the water and
yeah. It was
it was so
confusing.
fast. It all came together really, really quickly, didn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
And we got like the reason, but we didn't get a massive villain monologue.
No,
I
which I
do
was a
like
bit sad
a villain
about.
monologue.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do
I was a
enjoy
little
it.
bit sad. She was kind
But
of
no,
like,
no.
basically, she fancied Dr. Schindler, right? Mrs.
Yeah,
Gurney did.
yeah,
And basically, she thought that Jenny was stealing Dr.
yeah.
Schindler
Says you can't
from
have
her.
him. And she's like, what? What?
She's like,
She's like, you can't
who?
have. You have boyfriends. You have nice clothes.
Oh,
Um,
it's all them
yeah, but
babysitting jobs.
I've seen the doctor with his hand on your shoulder.
uh,
That was it. That's what
that's what
tipped her off.
pushed her over
Yeah,
the edge, that
yeah.
did.
And then, I mean, this is with like 4 pages left,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's it. It's like,
And the
yeah,
ending absolutely killed me as well, because like she's like with Cal and she kind of goes yes, something about, oh, they're gonna go home away from this horrid place, and he's
oh
put
yeah,
she stood facing him, one hand on the car door, one hand on the soggy front of his shirt. Yes, from now on, the movie, she said, what would you like to see? Well, his
Yeah.
laughing eyes sparkled. Return of the Living Dead is playing at the Sixplex.
Just
And she goes, Cal, you have a sick sense of
and
humour.
then she kisses him. Like, go
I'm like,
away.
oh my life.
Also, that water would be freezing. You would be
Yeah.
like getting some dry clothes, the policeman said. It's like, need to go
Yeah.
to hospital, get checked out. You've
Yes.
just been, but now they're going to go and watch a film. Yeah. Well,
Oh. Emma said this was her least favourite Stein that she's read.
yeah, I
Um,
think it was just a bit of a filler one, wasn't
yeah,
it?
definitely. C. Ellingham said, yeah, the cliffhangers in his Goosebump books were ridiculous. It was
Yeah.
like every chapter.
Which,
Billy said,
saying that though, it taught me a lot as a young reader and a
mm,
writer that if you want someone to read the next chapter of your book,
yeah,
you need to have a little cliffhanger. Because I try and do the same
yeah.
in a lot of my, just something that makes you go, oh, okay, I'll
Oh,
just read the
yeah,
next
just
chapter.
read another chapter. Yeah,
Yeah, and he is
definitely.
like well known for it, but sometimes they are just like you grow to expect
Yeah.
that that didn't really happen, you know?
Because I'm sure in the first babysitter, she's like being chased at some point. She's like, oh, I'm being chased. I'm being chased. Page break, new chapter. Oh, it's just a bus.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It
Yeah,
is a typical. There's one, it might be the dead girlfriend or something, and it's a really dramatic, like somebody has died or fallen off a cliff or something.
yeah.
And then it's like, and then I look down and the fact, actually, doesn't Cal do this in that? Oh no,
Like, just like looked
yeah,
over.
pushes him and then
Oh,
realizes, oh, there's water in it.
oh,
Like,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh no, Cal,
yeah,
he's dead. And oh, splishy splashy.
yeah, he's fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely an R.L. Stine thing.
Billy said Jenny set in that trap without even alerting the police. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, well, you know, the police are rubbish in YA books, aren't they?
Oh yeah, it
I'm
wouldn't have been
talking
any
about
good.
someone who's writing one at the minute who is like, yeah, well, get rid of the police. They're not interested.
They don't help. Matthew said I had pet rats in the 90s. They make good pets. They just get a
Yeah.
bad rap.
My
Oh,
friend had some rats and my sister had mice. Yeah.
oh, I love that.
Cute.
Um, Emma said, I didn't buy the older woman being jealous of the young girl trope. She kept screaming, you can't have him.
Yeah.
Weird. Yeah, it was a bit weird.
I think she
Like,
was
now I
just meant
think
to
about
be
it.
unhinged, wasn't
Yeah.
she? Like, no rhyme or reason, but you didn't know the character enough that you'd be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, definitely. Our cozy Liverpool home says babysitter 3 chat with Cynthia and Georgia, please. Yeah, that would be good. We'll get Georgia on. um, and Stargazer Matthew said Clay Chapman put all kinds of Easter eggs in his last book. Lots of horror writers are worked into as characters, either straight on or their names are blended, like Rachel LaRocca.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love that.
I've got
Brilliant.
a lot of Scream references in Signed, Sealed, Dead, and
Yeah.
the short story in Taste of Darkness. The main character's
Mm,
called Laurie after Laurie
yeah,
Strode in Halloween.
yeah,
So I think, yeah, when you're a big fan, you
yeah,
find little ways to,
and
and then other people will notice them if they're a
yeah.
fan as well.
Like I think in Win Lose Kill Die, you've got a character with the last name Loomis.
It,
Off the
he's
top of my head,
he's called Mr. Loomis,
Mr.
yeah.
Loomis.
He's called
Yeah,
Billy Loomis,
uh,
basically. He's like William. He's the groundskeeper.
yeah, that was
Yeah,
it. Yeah, and I was like, oh, nice, I like
yeah. That's
that.
a bit of an obvious one, but yeah.
But I appreciate stuff like that because I'm like, oh yeah, I love little Easter eggs like that. It's really
Yeah.
cool. Caroline said, I thought Mrs. Gurney, she was in her 50s too, terrorising a teenager. Lena said a big deal was made of Miss Gurney's husky voice. Yeah, that's why I thought she was older. So
Yeah.
I was suspicious as the voice on the phone was husky too. Ah, I didn't
Yeah, I
pick
think
that
when
up.
they use the same word as well, sometimes
Yeah.
instead of like, I don't know,
Mm.
using a synonym or whatever.
Hey, babes.
Yeah, I mean, did she sound like a man? Like,
She must have
I
been
don't
like,
know.
company's coming. Something like
You do not
that.
sound like a man when you do that, Shelley.
Matthew said, so they really did just go from the attempted murder to the movies. I thought I'd read it wrong.
Yeah,
No, I think they did. Um,
yeah.
our cozy Liverpool home said, yeah, how the police don't even want to talk to them. Yeah, they're just like, go
You
home
go. See you
at the
later.
end.
Yeah.
And how Cal flew over the edge into the water, had visions of him flying past in slow motion.
Yeah. There's definitely
Uh,
a lot now that I think probably whether copy editing is more thorough or I don't know, but
mm,
there's a lot in there that editors will be picking up going, but the
yeah.
police really don't want to talk to them. But then maybe the copy editor on this did, and Aristine was like, listen, it's done.
Yeah,
Don't want to
just
see it
just
again.
just push it through.
Just get it out.
Emma said that is true, Cynthia, about the cliffhangers, but your cliffhangers aren't silly. Yeah, they're
Thank you very
definitely not.
much. I'll throw in a silly one in the next one just for you.
Just in yeah, as a homage to Point Horror.
Yeah, we'll have some eggs on someone's eyes at some point.
Matthew said his cliffhangers are broken up in such a way that the chapter could end with a comma and the sentence just continues in the start of the
Yeah,
next chapter. That's
that's
so
true.
true.
Yeah.
Trina said, yeah, to be fair, I do read them faster when there are cliffhangers, but Stein is ridiculous with it.
Yeah. I mean, you write so many books, and I guess you just like, right, what do I do
Yeah,
next?
no,
Like,
that's it.
yeah.
Matthew said, oh, I love the Halloween Easter eggs, going to have to read these now. um, Karen said, Miss Gurney referring to Dr. Schindler as Dr. Gurney. Oh,
Oh,
yeah. Like they were a cute married couple and they
yeah.
then correcting herself super obviously. Yeah, I forgot about
See, I would read that book of her just being
that.
completely unhinged and like her imaginary life that she sees that they
Yeah.
have together. That would
Or
be good.
even like the story of her 3 years ago and what she did
Yeah.
to then have to, obviously see the therapist, which was Dr. Schindler. So yeah, that would be interesting. I think that would have been a bit more interesting than
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, overall, I do think like I think it does. It's a nice little filler. Like it's nice to like revisit Jenny,
Yeah.
like a little old friend, see what she's up to, see if she's learnt a lesson, which she quite clearly doesn't, and then wait till the
No.
third and fourth instalment. But yeah, so it was nice just to have a little catch up with like an old little friend, I would say. But I don't think you could live without it. It wasn't a
Yeah.
necessary sequel. Definitely
No.
not.
I think the next one might be the one that has
Yeah.
a good twist. And I mean, I can see how and why it
Yes.
happens because, she's been through a
Yeah.
lot of trauma.
And
Yeah.
then by the fourth one, it just goes
I
really
don't
off
even
the rails.
remember the fourth one. I've got it on my shelf, but
it's
I can't remember. I'm going
crazy.
to read the backs of them now when we finish.
Trina put Karen, I thought that proved it was the doctor. I thought he was using a fake name and she slipped up. Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
Billy said, I think there was some throwaway line about Miss Gurney seeing Dr. Schindler for being overly jealous or
Yeah,
something. Oh.
it was she had done this before, I think, basically.
Yeah.
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 So
So
give her a job. Great.
should know.
Yeah. Give her a job with the hot doctor. Like,
Raj said clearly the doc needs to reevaluate his therapy techniques because they're not working. I mean, his therapy techniques weren't
no,
great. Yeah.
they weren't, were they? No.
And Heather's put the fourth one sad face.
I just don't even remember it. I can
Oh
just see
dear.
someone's put like, the fourth one with the aliens and angels and whatnot. Like I would not be surprised.
Yes.
I don't think it's that interesting.
It goes it just yeah. I think by the fourth one, Stein was like, I don't care about Jenny bloody Jeffers anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go wild.
Is she even in it? Is she in the fourth one?
um I thought she was, but it's like, yeah, I might be wrong because I might be
Yeah.
getting confused with the third one.
We'll find
But
out.
it's, yeah, definitely
Keep
we'll
looking
find out.
at my shelves like
Oh, well, Cynthia, like, thank you for reading it and, like, persevering through
I
the
mean, one thing you
book.
can say about them is they're very quick
Yeah, very
reads, aren't
quick
they?
reads.
And I've been in such a reading slump for just ages and ages. And then
Yeah.
this was one of my first reads of January. And I was a bit like, okay, if I can do that, I can probably read another book. So
Oh,
it kind of
oh.
it broke my reading slump a little bit. So thank you.
Yeah, oh no, thank you. And oh, Billy said, yeah, Stein deliberately sabotaged the series by number
Oh
4
yeah,
to stop him write himself endless sequels for poor Jenny,
probably.
definitely. But no, thank you, Cynthia. And I'm so glad. Like, I do think sometimes when I'm in a bit of a slump, I do tend to like reread like a point horror that I know quite well or something, and it does kind of snap me out of it because it's like a comfort thing, I think.
Yeah,
So then it snaps me out of my little slump, and then I'm like, what slump? I'm
yeah,
perfectly fine.
yeah.
Oh, but thanks, Cynthia. And do check out Cynthia's books if you haven't already. All these are 5-star reads, and I wouldn't say that lightly. Um, they are absolutely fantastic. If you love point horror, you really would love Cynthia's books, and I just cannot wait for your new one, Cynthia.
Oh, thank you.
And thanks to everyone in the comments as well, and all your fab comments. Sorry, I got a little bit behind, but I was just
I know
too
it's
engrossed
busy
talking about
tonight.
Jenny Jeffers.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thanks, guys,
Oh,
and we'll see you next month. And come back again soon,
I
Cynthia.
will.
All right,
Bye.
see you soon. Bye.